Hey friends, Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Because of that, you guys, well, this just doesn't work. Well, we talked about just a few minutes ago about Demarcus Lawrence wants $17 million a year and says he has no problem with taking the franchise tag. Basically, he has the same agent as Oliver Vernon, who has an $85 million 5-year contract. So, of course, that agent is going to want to get the same kind of money. And it's interesting because Oliver Vernon last year, well, he got 6.5 sacks and I believe 8.5 the year before. So, you know, when you look at it from that standpoint and say he's worth $85 million with basically 15 sacks in 2 seasons, well, you look at Demarcus Lawrence, who had 14.5 in 1 year, you kind of say, well, that's a bargain. And apparently Stephen Jones has just gone on record saying, you know what, we're not letting him go nowhere. They're going to tag him and try and work out a long-term deal, which they can do. But if they don't, he'll be tagged and we'll have him at least for next year until they have a chance to try and work out something different. Ultimately, if you believe that he's the guy who's going to be good for 3-4 years and things like that, you can work out a deal, and it's to your best interest as far as fielding the rest of the team to try and work out a long-term deal. Basically, here's the thing you got to understand. Right now, we still have money on the books because of Tony Romo. We got $9 million that we have to finish paying him this year, and we're done. We've got another $4 million in dead money that we will be done with this year between Nolan Carroll and Cedric Thornton. So that's $13 million that we pay this year that we don't next year. So you can look at this and say, okay, let's say hypothetically we do turn around and pay him an $85 million contract, which is a lot. It's a big chunk of change. You go ahead and give him a signing bonus, which is prorated the life of the deal. You could end up with about a $7-8 million cap hit this year and have some of that money backloaded down the road when the cap is going to continue to go up because every year it goes up $8-9 million. And you also get that cap relief of an additional $13 million from the dead money that we have from the other guys leaving. So it is workable to do. The only thing you have to say is he worth the risk of $85 million? Because we're talking about probably $52 million that will be guaranteed. Let me say that again. About $52 million will be guaranteed money. And you got to be sure that it's worth that. We were at the crossroads of this with Des Bryant a few years back. And, you know, it's great to say, man, pay the man. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying not pay the man. But what you have to look at is, am I going to get value for what I'm paying? That's the bottom line. I don't have the answer. I'm not saying they should or shouldn't pay for him. I'm putting out there the reality of the situation. Because the Giants turned around, they spent $200 million on their defense. It worked great for 1 year. But now, not so much. So now they're looking at all of the money that they've got to cut and how it is now handicapped them in free agency. And that's one of those tough things that you have to be lucky with when you guys start signing contracts. You know, football is skill. It's being different. But it's also a lot of luck. A lot of times when you sign guys to contract, you need them to perform. And there's no guarantee one way or the other because, like my buddy DeMario said, basically there's a 100% chance of getting injured. And it could always be the very next play. It's the crapshoot that you play when you're a football player. And it's the reality of the game. So we'll see what happens, but it looks like one way or the other, Demarcus Lawrence will be here in Dallas. Anthony Hitchens, maybe not so much. It looks like the Colts are going to be signing him to a deal. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. But we definitely will be in the market for a linebacker. I'm Mark Holmes. This is Cowboy Joe Boo. And boys, my head's still pounding. And I'll see you guys real soon.